Dating since transition has been awesome, but that doesn't mean it comes without challenges and a steep learning curve. As an example, my first date with a man, I got into his car without knowing him. I know, it was really stupid. More on that later. I want to start the story before transition for some very important context. For most of my life, dating wasn't just hard, it was depressing. Going into any relationship, I knew after 2 weeks I would emotionally disconnect from whoever I was dating. The only time this wouldn't be the case is when I was the quote-unquote woman in the relationship. One such occasion, I dated a trans man in high school. Neither him nor I were transitioning at the time. Quite honestly, we both didn't know what transitioning was. As you might imagine, we were the perfect dynamic. He actually became better friends with my dude friends than I was. And my friends would constantly berate me for being the girl of the relationship. I would push back, of course, but inside I was so giddy about that. Somehow, one of my most vivid memories from high school was him insisting that his hand be on the top while we held hands. Or one night he admitted that he wanted to be a male his entire life. I admitted I wanted to be a female, so at that point, I kind of thought it was just normal. He ended up moving and we fell out of contact, but despite this, we ended up transitioning around the same time. But that relationship was like winning the lottery. Every single other one was genuinely depressing. I hated myself for the fact that after 2 weeks or a month, I would just lose interest in people. I thought I was a horrible person. Because yeah, it sucked for me, but I was dating someone. There was a victim to my own damage. After transition, this was no longer the case. So let's fast forward to my first date as a trans woman. Like I said, the first date I ever went on, I did the one thing you're not supposed to do, and I got in his car without knowing him. I was very lucky because he wasn't a bad guy. He was nice, he respected boundaries, and overall it went pretty well. The relevance of this would come after the date, actually, when I got home. My roommate slash best friend had a lot to say. The conversation went a little bit like this. Yuko, with all due respect, you're the stupidest person I've ever met. This was the first time I was ever on the receiving end of the safety talk. You know, go into a public space. Don't get in their car. Stupidest person I've ever met. Don't let them know where you live until you trust them. He picked me up in his car at my house, so yeah. Of course, I was wrong, but living as a guy for most of my life made me think these rules didn't apply to me. I was not going to be able to get away with that anymore. But this video is about relationships, and my first one would come after about 1 year of dating hell. Now, unfortunately for this poor soul, I was about to go through what I deem now as my cringe phase. Despite being the embodiment of cringe my entire life, I was never really given the opportunity to explore myself in high school. The closest I got was through MMOs like World of Warcraft and playing a female character on there. Or being the hot blonde girlfriend you found on RuneScape who happily took all your gold, then never spoke to you again. I'm not even blonde, you fool. But my cringe phase hit heavy and it hit hard. Kind of like an arc of anime, my cringe phase had many episodes. Each episode is dedicated to basically an entire different personality I was trying. 1 week I was a girly girl, next week I was a tomboy, the week after that I was goth. Patient Zero was always my partner at the time, bless his soul for never mentioning it. Fortunately, a testing facility was established. It was deemed Dungeons and Dragons. At around this point as well, I was so needy, oh my god. And it likely goes without saying, but at the 3-week mark, I didn't just fall out of love. In fact, in this relationship at the 3-week mark, I kind of broke down crying. I finally found out why I was falling out of love with people. It's because I was dating the wrong people. And if you think that's referring to gender, that's not. I date men, women, I don't really care. What I care about is dynamic. Hold up, 1 sec, let me just, okay, hi, hello, editor Yuko here. Finding myself started before the relationship, but having someone who wasn't just supportive on paper sped that up in so many huge ways. And if you nodded your head or made a grunt when you heard supportive on paper, you know exactly what I mean. To this date, I still owe a debt of gratitude to my first relationship. Their patience and understanding and love I'll always be thankful for. I want to keep it upbeat, but it wouldn't feel right not sharing this very personal detail. Earlier in transition, I had devastating insecurities. I recall one time about 2 years into transition being asked on a date at a restaurant in public. At the time, I was legitimately shocked because I thought they'd be embarrassed to be seen with me. In this occasion, they bought my meal. It was fine. It was a normal date and they weren't embarrassed. It was good. And importantly, when I say the date was fine, I mean it was fine on paper. It was a normal date, but to me, It was monumental. Just a sec. Okay, too close. Hey, what's up? I want to add something to this. To put it into some sort of perspective, it felt like the first dates I had had in my lifetime, like when I was much younger, that excitement, that thrill, that, oh my gosh, what is going on? But also, it had the excitement of something that I was waiting for my entire life, that at one point I just thought I could never have. Because this wasn't just a date, this was a date with romantic interest, okay? Things were turning up. Oh yeah, and this time I was literally the girl. Let's go. Hey, Zeke, finish editing the video. No, you still haven't paid me. It's been 2 years. Oh my god. Okay, also, I find so much more fulfillment in relationships, and small things just matter so much more. Just do it, Ezekiel, okay? I'll pay you, I promise. I'm so sorry about them. And the more I try to think of what to say about my more modern relationships when I am in one, I find nothing because they're painfully normal. Just bland, average. Holy Yuko, is something wrong? Probably could have worded that better, I guess, yeah. Better? That was supposed to be nice? Well, yeah, it was leading there, okay? You gotta let it cook. And you're single, huh? What does the world come to, right? I know. Playing video games some nights, maybe having a bag of chips if I'm feeling extra crazy. If it's really getting turned up in here, I might dip a Dorito into a cheese dip or a salsa. Yeah, sure, at first it's crazy and so much new experiences and cringe at some times, but eventually it's just normal. And to be completely honest, I don't think a lot of us want anything more than just normal. I know I don't. This video is sponsored by G-Subs. This is the last week to get the limited run Yuko EX cup and shirt from G-Subs. I promise if you buy it specifically, I will pay Ezekiel. Code genderfluid saves you 10% off on checkout, and there's a link down below that brings you right to the cup, baby. Thanks for watching. Bye.